What is up, my squad of lights? It is I, your king, welcoming you back to more Let's Play Forza Horizon 3. In the last episode, we began our adventure here in Australia. Forza Horizon 3, which I think is, oh gosh, it's going to hurt, the best racing game ever conceived, and I am so excited to bring it to you guys in this Let's Play. Here in episode 2, we have quite a few things to do, and this is probably going to still be a little bit on the longer side in terms of episode length. We're going to do a couple of races in this one as we try to work towards our next festival site. But also, there are still a couple of systems that I need to go over in this game.
Cross-country circuit. Like a cross-country, but in a circuit. Not a very imaginative name, I know.
And we're going to get to experience our first cross-country race, which cross-country races are essentially hybrid events. They are both off-road and on-road, mostly off-road, however, and are typically reserved for more off-road-centric cars. You can technically do cross-country events even with hypercars in this game, but it is not ideal. You typically want to do it with things that can actually handle the off-road terrain, which SUVs sort of, kind of can, I suppose. Not in real life, not really, but according to this game, they can. So, cross-countries are going to be very popular for off-road vehicles, though, so do get used to these sorts of events. They are very checkpoint-centric. You're not just trying to stay on the road, you're trying to actually hit the checkpoints, which at times can be kind of difficult to do, although don't get worried, this game is pretty generous when it comes to hitting those checkpoints. So we are kind of at the top of our A class here, so honestly these races shouldn't be all that difficult here in the Arus. Oh, there's me already missing a checkpoint to start things, so we're off to a amazing beginning in this race. See, this is what I'm talking about. You have to be very vigilant in these cross-country courses with your checkpoints, but I think I can make up ground since I made the mistake this early on, and we're just gonna try to race on towards victory here. So let's do this thing. So I'm not too worried about the wreckage. This is also a great way to rack up skill score as I'm actually dragging here in the back, but like I said, I'll make up ground, don't you worry. It's not gonna be that hard even as we drift into that turn. We've got plenty of time, and also this is a 2-lap affair, so I can make up for my mistakes that way as well. Let's do this thing. Let's try to get that skill multiplier going. We want to unlock our skill trees because I still need to go over those skill trees as well as the marketplace and whatnot and the things that I have unlocked, as well as the VIP system, car packs, expansion packs, all that good stuff. There's so much to talk about still that this game has going for it before we're able to, well, basically just kind of sit down and enjoy it for the rest of this time. So I'm not doing super good on my overtakes here. I'm being a little bit too conservative with my multiplier. It's really high. Actually, it's fully maxed out, so it is kind of a good idea to keep this thing going because it is going to get me a lot of skill points, but at the same time, I need to win this dang race. In first place, and me have a lot of ground to make up. All right, finish the skill multiplier, dang it. No! I don't want to have this anymore because if I freaking break it, it's going to suck. Every time I gain air, it's not helping my cause. Oh, gosh. All right, hold on, hold on. Oh, don't hit me, you piece of crap. No, you jerk. Oh, first place is way up there, too. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to get this. All because of that one mistake I made. Look at how much skill I got out of that. Ton of experience, too. This might not be doable, but I'm going to certainly, gosh darn, try. All right, there we go. That was a little dirty, but it worked. Definitely should have been doing that earlier. Come on, come on, come on. Maybe I can make this work. I don't know. These last couple turns are going to be tricksy. There we go. Okay, it's Jafio. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. No! I was so dang close. All right, let's restart this thing. And I'm going to do it all from scratch once more with feeling. I know. But we'll show how this is actually done when I don't screw up right from the start by missing my checkpoint entirely. I'm not going to complain about getting the skill multiplier that I got, though, because that was pretty great, if I'm being honest. But now I don't have to worry about trying to maintain something like that. Honestly, in races, it's not really a big deal because, as I said before, there are so many ways of exploiting this game's skill chain system. It's really, really easy to do. There are actually specified locations in the game that people in the community call like skill farms because you're able to generate so many skill points so very easily. We'll talk about those a little bit later because you basically just go and do a bunch of donuts and burnouts in there and just run through a bunch of wreckage and do some drifting and stuff like that, and you will have the craziest skill chains conceivable in the process. Okay, that was a really bad turn. That will basically allow you to unlock all your skill points in a matter of like an hour. It's kind of insane. All right, I just need to catch up to Mr. Jaffio here. He's honestly killing me. Is he driving? I think he's driving the BMW SUV that was probably my second choice if I hadn't picked the Lamborghini, but the Lamborghini was just the no-brainer based on its stats. This guy, he's freaking hauling. Oh, don't drift too far. Ah, crap. Okay, I can correct. There we go. I'm going to get for not using my brakes. All right, you, sir, need to go away. He's killing me right now. Drafting is helping a little bit. There we go. Got our overtake. All right, perfect. Now we just need to not do anything stupid and maintain the lead. Something I'm going to try not to do in races too much, and I tried to do this in Forza Horizon 2, but sometimes it's hard, is doing that a lot, looking behind, because I know it can get pretty darn disorienting for the viewers if I do that too much. But you know, sometimes you need to do it just to make sure you can see exactly where your opponents are at and what you know, whether they're about to overtake you or not, and whether you need to like block them or something like that. You actually got another crazy skill chain going here, which is crazy, but as soon as we finish the race, it'll just auto-complete it and give us the extra experience out of it. So as long as I don't crash here at the end, I should be fine. Yes. Beautiful. That was a lot better the second time around.
There's my ace driver. Proud of you, boss.
Thanks. I can't believe I had to restart on like my literal, what was that, third race of the game? Ridiculous. Yeah, that's why I'm a little apprehensive about upping the difficulty right away. Don't worry, in due time we will build towards that, but for right now, I'm going to stick on the above average difficulty, at least while we're using stuff like this. All right, let's do another wheel spin here. See what we can get out of this. Looks like we have a much bigger potential payout this time. Hey, so that's going to immediately jump us up 100,000. Not going to complain about that. All right. For our next location, I am not going to do that. That is a PR stunt. I'm going to pass on that. I'm actually going to go to the next race instead, because that PR stunt is something that I really just don't want to do in this vehicle in particular. I'd much rather get a much faster vehicle to accomplish something like that. So, let's head on over here. This one's actually a little far away, but not too ridiculously far. I just got to be a little bit careful here with my driving lines. Yeah, there we go. I don't know why the game wants me to brake so hard. Those turns really weren't that hard to make. Sometimes the braking lines can be a little bit misleading, so do keep that in mind. Following the braking lines religiously is a good way to win this game on easy difficulties, but if you don't follow them religiously and you actually learn how to like shortcut stuff and break the rules of the driving lines, that's when you really get into the high-end stuff, because you do need to shortcut a lot, use the off-road to your advantage while also being aware that it can also screw you up really, really badly. All right, hit that experience board first. Let's do this race, another cross-country event, and then hopefully once we have done that, we should be able to start getting into upgrading this festival and going on to the next one. Apostles Beach. This is a very cool area that we're going to be driving through, which we've technically already driven through it before, but the whole section of the beach where all those rock formations are that we've driven through, that is known as the Apostles. And you get a nice view of those in this particular course. So I have to say, I'm not, this is something that I'm always going to be kind of ashamed of, is I don't really know all that much about Australia. It's such a beautiful, beautiful country, and beautiful continent in general, obviously, but the continent of Australia is so much more than just the country of Australia. They are two different things. Australia is just this, it's such a beautiful, diverse location that honestly does not get near enough credit in things like video games and movies and stuff like that. And when it does, honestly, most of the time, it's just the outback that gets glorified, which, while that is the majority of the country, it's not the only thing Australia has going for it. I mean, Australia is beautiful for so many different reasons. It has tropical environments and things like that in it. And, I mean, the ocean around it is just so gorgeous and beautiful and blue. And, I mean, and everyone just sees the outback itself as nothing more than just desert, which is also not necessarily true. I mean, I wish I was more knowledgeable of it so I could just gush about it and talk about it while we play through this game. But unfortunately, I am an ignorant American who can't speak a whole lot to Australia's beauty. Just know that it is really and truly one of the most underrated locations on our planet that just does not get utilized enough in entertainment in general, not just video games. We really do need to see more out of this country and more representation of Australia, and that's another reason why I love Forza Horizon 3 so much. It's because in a lot of ways it does capture that majesty. I've actually heard from people who are Australian natives that they do have a big soft spot for this game, even if they have no interest in racing games in general, simply because of that representation. I mean, how could you not? You know, you're from a place like Australia that is largely unrepresented. Why wouldn't you gush over a game that actually is willing to represent your country so well? It just makes a lot of sense. So these are the apostles right here, these rock formations off to our left that we are passing. That's what they're known as. And I do believe that they are real. It is a real location in Australia. There are aspects, though, of this game that are based on real areas, but not actually the real deal, or they're not meant to exactly look like it. One of those examples is, like, I don't know, the city of Sydney is not actually represented in this game, but there are cities that look like Sydney in this game, as well as other cities in Australia, like Melbourne and Adelaide and things like that. It's all there. Everything is meant to be kind of a representation of the overall majesty of Australia rather than any specific things itself for the most part. So keep that in mind.
You certainly like standing on the tallest podium, don't you?
Well, duh. Why would I want to settle for anything less when this is the way I can get the highest payout, the most experience, and the most fans? And is that going to be enough? Not quite. That's okay, though. So I guess I can go do the PR stunt, but there's no way I'm going to get a 3-star out of it because this Arus is just not designed for it. Let's see. What else do we have that we can actually do? There is XP boards. I guess I have to do it. The game's going to make me do it. But this is... So what we're about to do right now is known as a speed trap. This is another type of PR stunt. There's also drift zones and speed zones that you have to worry about as well. And we'll talk about those as we come to them. But speed traps are very simple. Essentially, you have to run through a specific section on the road that has cameras set up, and you have to be going a certain speed when you do that. For this particular speed trap, if I want to get the gold, I need to be going something like 150 miles an hour, which this SUV, as good as it is, can barely achieve that. So there is absolutely no way I'm going to be able to get the 3-star out of this. I'm probably going to end up just getting the 1-star, but I'm going to try at least for the 2-star, which I want to say is 120, but we'll certainly see. We're actually coming at this from the wrong direction. The other direction, it's a little bit easier to maintain that speed, but we'll certainly try. So here we go. Just kind of follow all the way through here. We're going 150 now, but there's going to be a hard turn right before we get to that spot that we're going to have to hit before and I could also hit a truck as well. That's going to help. Yeah, a somewhat hard turn that I'm going to have to hit that's going to rob me of some of this speed. Don't cut me off, please. Thank you. Let's see if we can do this by letting off the gas a little bit. Oh, yeah. See, this turn right here is going to probably kill me. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, is that enough for a 2-star? I think it is, actually. I think I got the 2-star out of that. I know, but this is not the vehicle for that. Is that enough fans to get the new festival, though? Yes, it is. Okay, that's all I needed. If I want to hit speed traps like that, I'm going to get a way better vehicle for doing stuff like that. Like, oh, I don't know, the Centenario or a Ferrari or something along those lines.
We have people coming from north, south, west. They're even crossing oceans to be part of Horizon. I need your call on the second festival site. I've marked a couple of potentials. Surfer's Paradise. Skyscrapers, city streets, and tight urban racing. And apparently the waves aren't bad either. Or the Outback. Red sand, blue sky, perfect off-road terrain, and snakes that'll kill you if you even slow down for a second.
All right, you said we had people crossing oceans to come be part of the festival when we have 27,000 fans. I've seen people who have Twitter followers of more than 27,000 who can't even get a meetup going at conventions. Are you kidding me? Anyway, so we have our two options, the Outback and Surfer's Paradise. The Outback is actually on the exact far opposite end of the map. I am not going to be doing this one just yet. The Outback is a very off-road centric area, so we're instead going to select Surfer's Paradise to start.
Horizon Surfer's Paradise. I can set everything up and get the party started. Feel free to stick around here and arrive fashionably late.
Okay, so you'll see that we now have our location, which is all the way up there. We need to drive straight to it, so I'm going to actually select that. And real quick, I'm also going to hit this fast travel board along the way, which I do believe is actually in this person's driveway. See if I can get in here without busting their fence. Oh, there we go. So I'm just going to bust your board. I'm not going to bust anything else, I promise. Even though we created sparks with that somehow. All right, let's get on over there. And then we can talk about the last couple of things I wanted to cover. Actually, okay, so this is available to us. That's good. So let's talk about the monetization real quick before we head on over that way. So I said before that you can't buy wheel spins, which is good. This was not a constant thing, though. This is not a thing that persisted into later Forza Horizon games. You can, in fact, buy wheel spins and special kinds of wheel spins in later Forza Horizon games. This game only has 4 types of monetization. The first is car packs. Much like buying fighting characters and DLC and stuff like that, you can buy packs of cars as well. There is a total of 86 between all of the car packs. I purchased one, which is the VIP pack, and it actually came with my VIP membership, so technically I didn't even buy the pack at all. I just bought a VIP membership, which came with 5 cars. I did not buy any of the others. Now, the good thing is you don't need any of these cars because it's not like any of these are the absolute best cars in the game. There's no pay-to-win element when it comes to these car packs. Most of the best cars are actually straight up earnable in-game, but there is some good ones in here. Now, because this game has hit end-of-life cycle, none of these car packs are even available anymore anyway, so there is the fact that you are missing out on these in the future. That is one aspect of the monetization. That I am kind of on the fence of. It's not my favorite thing in the world. It's sort of but I also am not going to complain about it too much. One thing I don't have a problem with, though, is expansion packs. These are literal extra drops of content that add on to the game. We have Blizzard Mountain and Hot Wheels. The Blizzard Mountain was the first expansion pack that was released with Horizon 3. Hot Wheels was the second one. These are going to both be endgame things we get into after we have finished everything in the vanilla campaign. But because I liked Forza Horizon 3 a lot, I actually dropped the money to get these expansion packs. Now, the one thing that is absolutely not required, but is a little bit of a hot and button issue, is the VIP membership. And I don't actually want to go to the store here. The VIP membership is something that has existed in every Forza Horizon game, but is something that was more exploited in later Forza Horizon games. This game, like I said, has a very generous sense of progression. You get experience a lot. You get credits a lot. You really don't have a hard time getting all of that stuff. But because this game was so good with its progression, because I enjoyed it so much and sunk so many hours into it, I was willing to spend the money to get the VIP membership, which gives you some extra cars, and it doubles all of your earnings from your wheel spins. That's it. It's a very cheap thing. I think it was only like $5 or something like that, $5 or $10 to get. I think it was 10 actually to get the VIP membership. But this is absolutely something that is not required. Again, I say that the game earned this from me. It's not something that I felt like I was railroaded into. In Forza Horizon 4 and 5, I cannot say the same because those games dilute the reward pool significantly. It's no longer just credits and cars. It's also cosmetic rewards and things for your avatar that you never see in anything outside of cutscenes. And all of these stuff, and this stuff was just added in to the loot pool to make it harder to get the actual stuff you want from your wheel spins. Then they allowed you to buy wheel spins, and they also gave you the VIP option to make it feel like you were unlocking stuff more frequently. It essentially cut in half your progression, like the amount of stuff that you were getting, as opposed to previous games, to make you feel like you needed the double progression, which I am not a fan of. This is not necessary in Forza Horizon 3. In Forza Horizon 4 and 5, unfortunately, it kind of is. So I do want to make that clear. The last thing, though, that is also purchasable in this game, and this is entirely optional, is maps, treasure maps, and all these little extras here. So treasure maps are for finding bonus board locations. If you don't want to actually do the exploration yourself, you just want the game to tell you where they're at, you can buy treasure maps. I actually do have these, but I am not going to activate them until later in the game. There is car horns, and these are just obviously a cosmetic ancillary thing. You don't need to get these. They're also ridiculously cheap, and you can earn them on your own. Now, let's talk about tokens, because this is another thing that might seem like an incredibly exploitative thing. Technically, yes, you can buy every single vehicle in this game with real money. You, if you wanted to, don't have to play anything to unlock it all. You just drop money into the game. But I will say right off the bat, and I'm actually going to disable tokens entirely to show why this is a good idea, or why tokens are such a bad idea. Tokens are always a losing proposition. $1 is 100 tokens. For instance, if I wanted to buy, let's say, the Lamborghini Centenario, that's going to cost me something like 3,000 tokens. $30. $30 for one car. Trust me when I say that is a massive waste of money and time, for that matter. Because honestly, trying to earn the credits that you are going to need to be worth that number of tokens is so much more a better use of your time, and really not that difficult to do, because again, this game is so ridiculously rewarding. Tokens are a ripoff. They are a terrible proposition all the time. You should never want to spend any money on tokens. Trust me, it's always a bad idea. They technically exist, but I don't think that they're super exploitative, because they're just terrible value. They're terrible value. They're not like other microtransactions that are there to bait you into spending them. They're just kind of there, honestly, for the most hardcore people who are like, no, I want to get into the competitive aspect of the game now. I really don't have time to do anything else but just jump right on in, and I need this car instantly. Those are the only people I think that tokens apply to. Anyone who plays this casually, you don't need them. So that is the monetization of Forza Horizon 3. It's not perfect, but it's not as exploitative as it could be. And I feel like Forza Horizon 4 and 5 are good examples of why 3 didn't quite push the envelope too much. This game does have a couple of sketchy things about it, but it definitely got worse later in the series, and I feel like there was at least some restraint exercised all the way back when this came out, as opposed to in the later games. All right? Now we've skipped all of that if you've so desired, or you decided to listen to all that. Let's continue on to the festival site, and we can talk about the auto show as well as the auction house once we get there. And the auction house, actually, I don't think we even can talk about that, because I think that actually might no longer be in operation with this game, but we'll certainly see once we get there. Surfer's Paradise is a much more street racing centric area. A lot more road racing, so we're going to try to get ourselves a pretty fast car. I'm actually going to unlock the one car pack that I do have, so that we can have like a Ferrari available to us, so we can actually do things like speed traps and stuff like that. But it is going to be my main goal right from the get-go to try to get the most lucrative car possible as early as possible here in the game, before we start dropping our credits into more low-end vehicles and diversifying our classes and things like that. But you get a pretty awesome view as we head up this way. This is probably my favorite area of the entire map that we're coming up on, as a matter of fact. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of beautiful areas in this game, but I think this one might be the best. So yeah, oh my gosh, so many systems to go over, but luckily, once we're done with all of that, we can spend the next 80 or so episodes talking about all of the enjoyable stuff, and not all of these nitty-gritty details that I need to go over every single time. And I keep using the term nitty-gritty. I don't know why. It's probably because I can't come up with anything else on the spot, I guess. I don't know. But look at this area we're heading into. It's gorgeous. In fact, we actually have a scenic spot that we can check out, which I need to go back to get this travel discount board anyway. So let's do that. Great Ocean Road.
The Great Ocean Road. 250 k's winding along the shipwreck coast. To most people, it's a tourist attraction. To Horizon, it's a challenge.
Now, if only it was actually 250 kilometers in-game, but no, it's not even close to that, unfortunately. So the reason I'm actually, I did want to explain this. Why do I actually have the VIP enabled? One, I actually don't know how to turn it off. I really don't. It's not one of those things that you can disable like you can the treasure maps, at least as far as I was able to tell. But two, I actually don't mind the bolstered progression, just because Forza Horizon is the type of game where they do expect you to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours to unlock everything. And just being able to cut that down for the sake of video content is always going to be a winning proposition for me. Because I don't want this Let's Play to last forever. It is going to be on the long side, but I don't want it to be, 300 episodes. I'd rather have it be half that or less if possible. So that is why I'm not too beat up about keeping the VIP bonuses and rewards on, even though I know it's something that not everybody is going to be able to take advantage of if they haven't already purchased it in the first place. But here we head out into the shipyard, and this is such a cool area. All these shipwrecks all along the coast. This is actually one of the most fun areas to drive around in, and makes for some really good off-road tracks, if I'm being honest. I'm going to try to avoid the rocks. Oh, geez, we have another scenic spot here. Well, might as well check it out.
That's Silver Sands Beach. It's just indecent, isn't it? I wouldn't even be game to set foot on that sand. I'd get it all dirty.
So I actually don't... Is that seriously like a location in Australia? Is there seriously like a place where the tide is rolled in so shallow that there's just a bunch of shipwrecks on it? Because if so, that's so crazy. It's got to be so cool to see. I want to go to Australia so bad. I really, really do. It's such a beautiful... everything I see about it is so beautiful. And I'm sure it's not all that way. Obviously, there's a dark side to every corner of the world. But, I mean, it's such an untamed, untouched, and sparsely populated area that there's bound to be so much about it that's just beautiful. And I want to experience it, darn it. I really, really do. All right, let's continue. And I do believe that where we're heading right now is what's meant to be the area that represents Sydney, but they don't actually call it Sydney. So, because I do think, because Sydney is on the more, not quite the north end of Eastern Australia, but like the north-ish side, I think. Like, it's like north of center, I suppose. It's all, I think that's where it is. I don't know my Australian geography too freaking well. I know that Sydney is more northish, Melbourne's more southish, Adelaide is really southish, and that's really all I'm aware of about Australia. Oh, and Perth is on the west side. But Perth is not represented in this game whatsoever. This is mostly just Eastern Australia, leading into the edge of the outback. All right. Here we are. This is going to be a great place to do some racing. We're going to be doing a lot of traffic dodging here, too. So I got to pull out my Midnight Club skills here, which I'm always happy to do because that game is rad too. Not as rad as this game, I know. Hot take, controversial opinion for a lot of the people who have been following this channel, but I will stand by it until the end of time. This game is just objectively better in every way.
Horizon Surfer's Paradise. People can walk straight from the beach to the stage to the starting barrier. It's a masterpiece, even if I do say so myself.
And upon building Surfer's Paradise, we will once again be taken into the garage, and we will be given, I believe, another free vehicle, but it honestly... Yes, okay, it is another free one. And this always depends on what location you pick, so we would actually have a different suite of vehicles available to us had we gone to the Outback instead. So this time we're going to be getting Classic Muscle, and out of all of these, the Holden might honestly be the best option here. It is a Class D, though. But that's probably why it's going to actually whoop a lot of butt, too, because it's not in the same class, yet it's almost just as good as all of these. I think I'm going to go with the Holden Toronto. Let's do it. Let's see if we can get ourselves a nice design for this one as well. Because, I mean, at a class, it's probably one of the best Class Ds available. Like, just period, based on those stats alone. And also, we're not going to be doing a whole lot of Class D racing as it is, if I'm being honest. I think I might actually go with that more rusty-looking one. We're just going to pretend that I didn't see that really weebish-looking one. I don't even know what it was, but I think this is the one I'm going to go with because it's the least sponsored of them. So let's take it. The Rust Bucket. I like it. I like it a lot. There is obviously a lot more to the design lab. It's not just those ones that are immediately given to you. Those are just the most popular designs. You can actually go into the search function and change different types of categories of designs and look through all of those if you want. I just don't want to spend 20 minutes in here searching for what I perceive to be the best design. So now that that is done, let's get out of here. Let's talk about the auto show and the auction house really, really quickly. So the auction house is actually, this is where you can actually buy vehicles that other players have put up online for certain amounts of credits, and you will essentially bid on them. This will also include all of the upgrades sunk into them, all of the tuning, etc., etc. You can go through and take a look at all of these deals should you so desire. There is a set buy it now price as well if you want to. But this is a good way of accruing credits also by selling your cars should you so desire. And I want to say that this is also a way of bypassing car packs. I think you can actually buy DLC cars this way. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. But the auction house is not something we're going to be using at all. The auto show, however, is a little bit different. So we have our DLC cars, and I actually have the ones I have that I can immediately download. I'm going to have to do each of these individually, but they're all pretty darn good ones, actually. Every single one of these is in the S2 class aside from the Ford Falcon. I'm actually going to download the... the Aventador. I overused this car to death in Forza Horizon 2, so I'm actually going to try to not use this one too much in this. So I think I'm going to get the Ferrari instead. Download that. And we'll get ourselves a design for it. And then I'll actually go over the extent of the auto show itself after I get a really good design. That is actually gorgeous, and it's only a 3-star. Really? I freaking like that, actually. Ooh. Oh, there's some good designs for this one. Well, I don't know about that one so much, but some really good designs here for this one. There's usually always like a military painted one and a police one. I don't know why those are so unbelievably popular, but they're here. That is pretty sweet as well. Oh, man. I think I'm actually going to go... I think I'm going to go with the one that I saw at the beginning. But gosh dang, like this one here is super tempting as well. It's a Ferrari. Let's go. We've got to have some red on it. It's just like, it's required at this point if it's going to let me. Or it's not going to actually let me download it. Okay, let's try that again once more with feeling. All right, I was finally able to push that through. Decided to skip that because I didn't want to have to show me trying to download that livery again. So there we go. We got ourselves our Ferrari, which is pretty darn sweet. Now let's talk about the actual auto show itself. You have a recommendations that Horizon sets you, which are usually just based on the types of classes that you're going to be mostly using in the area that you're in based on the auto show. However, you can always obviously just view all of the cars, and this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the fact that as annoying as it can kind of be to have car packs and the fact that you are limited to a certain number of vehicles, I mean, look at how many vehicles are in this game. And this is me fast scrolling through all this. There is so much to unlock in this game. It's actually stupid. And all of these are upgradable. All of these are upgradable, many of which can be pushed to the absolute limits that the game can handle, all the way up to the X class. I mean, there is so much to get in this game. It is stupid. Absolutely stupid, DLC cars or otherwise. All of the ones with the little icon in the top right corner, so you can see down there by the Talbot Sunbeam, it's got a little rectangle with an arrow in it. That tells you it's a DLC car. Everything that doesn't have that is just something you can straight up buy for credits. And you see some of the costs on some of these suckers. I mean, look at this one, $2.1 million for the Shelby Cobra 427. That's just, it's absolutely insane how much stuff is in here. And actually, some of these are, I think, straight up for free that I can just grab as well, because they did end up releasing a bunch of them for free that were part of the DLC packs. Not all of them, unfortunately. Like this Renault, I would not be able to get, but I can get the RJ Anderson Polaris Rockstar Energy Pro 2 truck, which is great. I mean, there's a bunch of those as well that are also available to grab. So yeah, pretty crazy the amount of stuff that you can get in this game. But I'm actually going to switch on back to my Holden. We are going to get in this car, and we are going to call this an episode. Another long one. From here on out, guys, we're pushing 15 to 25 minutes on these episodes from now on. No more super long episodes after this. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so very much for watching this episode of Let's Play Forza Horizon 3. I hope you all enjoyed it very much. Next episode, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of Surfer's Paradise, doing all sorts of cool things, races, bucket list things, grabbing XP boards and fast travel boards and things like that. I will see you all in the next one.